Which defenses should you target and who should you avoid for Week 9 of the NFL season? We'll go over all of that in this week's episode of Pick 3 DST. As a reminder, these are not my full weekly defense rankings. If you want to check those out, you can click the link below, which will take you to the article that I'll update as the week goes on when we get weather updates and injury concerns and things of that nature. As always, we're going to start with our accountability check. And what was another 50-50 performance for Week 8. Our sleeper defense, the Rams, scored 6 points. However, that was tied for the 8th best finish in defenses last week. There were only 3 defenses that scored double-digit points in Week 8, so we don't mind the 8th best finish for our sleeper defense. And then our stud defense, the Lions, were the top scoring defense of the week, so we love to see that. On the other side, our solid defense, the Baltimore Ravens, dropped the ball quite literally 3 times against the Browns, and they scored just 3 points this week. And then the defense we faded, the Houston Texans, scored 10 points this week, and it just continued the mercurial nature of Anthony Richardson on the big stage in the NFL. So let's see if we can get things going in the right direction here for Week 9. My sleeper defense for Week 9 is the Detroit Lions. Consensus has them at 14th, and I have them up at 7th on the week. Now, we just talked about how the Lions were the top-ranked defense in Week 8, and I believe that they may be one of the most well-rounded teams in the NFL, if not the most well-rounded team in the NFL. Their defense has continued to produce really strong results, even without Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Peko. On the season, they're 2nd in turnover rate. They are 5th in forced incompletion rate, and they are 7th in opponent scoring rate. And as we saw last week, their special teams is good enough that they threaten for a touchdown every single week. Khalif Raymond was tremendous last week with over 190 punt return yards alone, and that is a little feather in the cap of the Lions defense. I don't love the matchup against the Packers. However, Jordan Love did leave Week 8 injured. We had to see Malik Willis come in and finish the game. If Malik Willis will start this week, the Packers are going to be a lot more run heavy. It's going to take some of the explosion out of that offense. If Jordan Love does play, I don't expect him to be at 100%. So I think that's a slight boost to the Lions. And I think that they're just a really solid defense with a safe floor week in and week out. Now, before I get to my solid defense, pause this video and comment below. Let me know which defense you're playing this week or ask me any start-sit questions, and I'll get to those as the week goes on. My solid defense for the week is the New Orleans Saints. Consensus has them at 3rd, and I have them at 6th on the week. Now, the Saints are going to be a trendy pick because they're playing the Panthers this week, but I wanted to cover them to explain a little bit of why I'm slightly lower on them than consensus. Even though Bryce Young is expected to start under center for the Panthers again, I think they should get Deontay Johnson back this week, as the Panthers are trying to show that he's healthy and show him off a little bit before the trade deadline. There are rumors that he is for sure going to be traded. And I think that they could do the same thing for Adam Thielen, who's eligible to come off the IR, and he's also in a bunch of trade rumors that are being floated, so the Panthers may want to show that he's healthy before they try to get anything they can for him at the trade deadline as well. So this Panthers offense could be the healthiest they've been in weeks, and then you add to that the fact that the Saints defense hasn't really been all that great for fantasy purposes of late. On the season, they rank 21st in PFF's pass rush productivity grade. They are 22nd in opponent scoring rate. They are 8th in turnover rate. So there will be some fantasy goodness, which is why I have them 6th. But I don't really think they're in a smash spot where they're a locked-in top 5 play this week. And I think there are some defenses we'll cover later in this video that I think could be a better play on your waiver wire. My stud defense for Week 9 is the Washington Commanders. Consensus has them at 9th, and they are my top-ranked defense on the week. Who would have thought the Commanders would be a Tier 1 defense for me this season, let alone my top-ranked defense for a week? But here we are. The Commanders rank 4th in pass rush productivity grade, 8th in tackles for a loss or no gain per week, and 11th in forced incompletion rate. So they are a pretty solid defense, holding up even without Jonathan Allen, and they now get a Giants offense that has really struggled of late. We know the Giants have guys like Malik Neighbors who can make some big plays, and the Commanders are prone to giving up explosive plays, but the Giants just don't hit on them all that often, and they're likely to be without rookie Tyrone Tracy Jr., who suffered a concussion in Monday night's game against the Steelers. He is now in concussion protocol, and it could be a quick turnaround for him to get ready for this game. So I'm expecting them to just have Devin Singletary in the backfield, and that takes away some of the explosive play potential of this Giants offense. The bigger concern from the Giants is without left tackle Andrew Thomas. The offensive line has really failed to hold up. They've allowed 12 sacks in just the last 2 weeks. And so I think this Commanders pass rush alone could allow them to be a top 5 defense this week. So I really do like the Commanders as a sneaky play. Before I get to the defense I'm fading this week, hit that like and subscribe button below to get Pick 3 DST every single week, plus the rest of our football and fantasy football content over at NBC Sports. The defense I'm fading for Week 9 is the Baltimore Ravens. Consensus has them at 5th, and I have them down at 20th on the week. Yes, the Ravens were a solid defense for me last week. I had them ranked 7th against the Browns, but we do need to adjust when we see things that happen on the field. The Ravens defense is incredibly banged up, and they keep really failing to rise to the occasion for fantasy purposes, even in good matchups. On the season, they rank 20th in turnover rate, 24th in pass rush productivity rate, and 25th in opponent scoring rate. So they have not been a good fantasy defense, and this Broncos matchup is really not a good matchup for fantasy defenses. Bo Nix has started to look better in the last few weeks. He's not making tons of big plays, but he's also not really making bad plays, and he has the mobility to avoid lots of sacks. So the Broncos right now in the season give up the 16th most fantasy points to opposing defenses. So they're smack dab in the middle against a Ravens defense that has been below average. So I find it hard to add that up and make the Ravens a top 5 play this week. They scored just 3 points against the Browns, and this Broncos offense has been a worse matchup for fantasy. So I'm expecting the Ravens to disappoint again from a fantasy defense perspective in Week 9. That's going to do it for this week of Pick 3 DST. As a reminder, click below to check the full article with all my rankings, which I'll update as the week goes on. Like and subscribe to get this video and all of our football and fantasy football content over at NBC Sports. And I'll check you back next week for another episode. Good luck on Sunday.